is going on, YouTube world? My name is Ghiman Mckinney. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in to the channel today. You can also just call me Juice. That is my nickname. Like I said, appreciate you guys for watching the channel today. Be sure to smash this like button right now, as it does help this channel grow and the videos get out to the public. Subscribe to this channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. And turn on post notifications too, so you don't miss a single video that I post. It's only right, you guys. All right, look. College football is right around the corner, and yes, I'm dropping a bomb on y'all today. Yes, you read the title. Georgia is going to win the SEC this year, and I see Alabama missing the playoffs this year. Yes, I see Georgia winning the SEC, and Alabama will miss the playoffs. I will talk about why Georgia will win the SEC this year, and toward the end of the video, I will get to why Alabama will miss the playoffs, okay? So let's just start off with this right here, okay? Listen. I'm fully aware that Alabama has been the gold standard of college football these past couple years. I'm fully aware, okay? Alabama has been a dynasty. They've been the gold standard of college football. I get it, the last 10 years, there's been so many coaching changes and turnovers within the SEC, okay? The SEC, the best conference, okay, has had so many coaching changes and turnovers because of Alabama and Nick Saban. So many teams are looking to knock off Alabama and Nick Saban, okay? Auburn has tried, Florida has tried, LSU has tried, Texas A&M has tried. All those teams have pretty much fallen short of knocking off Nick Saban and Alabama. I'm here to tell you, I'm not saying that Georgia is going to go on this dynamic dynasty run where they win so many national titles in a row. I'm not saying that, okay? But if anyone can knock off Alabama these next couple years, or potentially down the road, just this year in general, it is Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs will win the SEC, okay? I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Georgia is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in all of college football. You can't tell me there's 3 or 4 teams right now that have a better roster than Georgia, okay? You just can't, okay? I'm going to put on the screen who I believe are the 7 best college football teams right now. To me, Clemson's number 1, Alabama's number 2, Georgia right behind them based on talent is number 3. Ohio State, my Buckeyes, I think are the 4th best team talent-wise, okay? I think Oklahoma, I think Michigan, I think LSU are other teams to watch out for this year as far as talent goes. I'm not saying that's where those teams will finish based on the graphic on the screen. Those to me are the best teams, okay? And I think Georgia is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in all of college football. There's not a roster outside of maybe Clemson or Alabama, maybe Ohio State, that's better than Georgia to me, okay? And we have to ask ourselves this question. Why has Alabama been so good these past couple years? Well, they've had Nick Saban and pretty much recruiting. Let's be real, guys. You can have a great coach, you can have a great game plan, but if you don't have the players to execute in college football, you're not going to win. You're just not going to beat Nick Saban. The teams that have beaten Alabama these past couple years, the Ohio States, the Auburns, the Clemson Tigers, okay, teams like that, they have all had 4 and 5-star players on the field, okay? To me, there's not been a team the past 3 years that has recruited at a higher level than Georgia outside of Alabama. Georgia has 4 and 5-star players all over that roster. I might start to call Georgia 5-star U, because every time I look up, Georgia has recruited and signed a 5-star player, okay? Let's look at some recruiting rankings these past 3 seasons, okay? I'm going to put a graphic on the screen that will show you how many 4 and 5-star players Georgia and Alabama have accumulated these past 3 seasons. How many of those players they have actually signed? Alabama has signed 63 of them. Georgia has signed 62, right on Alabama's heels. 5-star players. Let's look at 5-star players. Alabama, 11 5-star players the past 3 seasons. Georgia, 15. Georgia right now probably has more 5-star players on their roster than Alabama. Yes, Georgia probably does have more 5-star players on their roster right now than Alabama, okay? 4-star players, the last couple years. Alabama, 54, Georgia, 47. Right there with Alabama. All I'm trying to say is that if a team, just based on talent, can compete and match up with Alabama, it is Georgia. Yes, it's Georgia. And when you watch these teams play these past 2 years in the national championship and in the SEC title game, Georgia looks like they belong on the same field with Alabama. Don't tell me Oklahoma's defense belonged on the same field with Alabama this past year. Don't tell me Washington belonged on the same field with Alabama a couple years ago when they made the college football playoffs, okay? Don't tell me Notre Dame belonged on the same field with Alabama a couple years down the road, a couple years ago when they beat them when Alabama smacked them in the national title game. Don't tell me that Michigan State, of all teams, belonged on the same field with Alabama when they made the college football playoffs. Teams that belong on the same field with Alabama are the Clemsons, the Ohio States, the Georgias, okay? Those are the teams that belong on the same field with Alabama. They have the speed. They have the athletes. When you just watch these teams play, you can clearly see there's a difference in ability on the football field when you watch both of these teams play, whether it be in schemes, whether it be in players, whether it be in athleticism, flat out, okay? Just in general, okay? In the last 2 seasons, Georgia's been right there with Alabama. They've been right there, in the national championship game. They had a 13-0 lead on Alabama at one point, okay? 13-0 lead, okay? They obviously blew it, okay? They obviously lost in that national championship on the final play where Tua Tagovailoa throws an amazing about 30 or 40-yard touchdown pass. I believe it was to Jerry Jeudy, whoever it was, but you get the point. You saw the game. You watched the game if you're a real college football fan, okay? Georgia had a lead. They outplayed Alabama in that game. Obviously, Alabama won. I get it. But Georgia looked like the better team on the field that day. In the SEC title game this past year, they had a 14-point lead on Alabama twice. Twice they were up on Nick Saban at Alabama by 14 points. They obviously blew the lead. Now, both times, unfortunately, Jalen Hurts, Nick Saban benches him in the national title game. Tua Tagovailoa comes right in, delivers a national championship. Kirby Smart and the Georgia coaching staff could not adjust on the fly, and Nick Saban stole one from Georgia. This past year, Tua Tagovailoa looks terrible. Tua Tagovailoa was choking away the game. He was getting suffocated. He was looking awful. He was terrible, okay? He got bailed out, obviously, because he got hurt. I wish Tua Tagovailoa continues to stay healthy, okay? But either way, he got hurt. Then they bring in Jalen Hurts. Kirby Smart and his coaching staff cannot adjust on the fly again. Same story all over again. Georgia loses versus Alabama. Now, to me, I had a very good time clowning some of my Georgia friends, okay, about that. But again, Georgia's been right there with Alabama. Both times, the last 2 years, they have looked like the better team. They have looked like the better team. I'm not saying they were the better team, but they played like it, okay? Georgia's been right there. I think this is finally the year they break through. Georgia has the team to do it. Okay, and let's be real, guys. Kirby Smart, obviously he's been out-coached these past 2 national title games. Yes, he's done some things that have blown leads for his Georgia team. Okay, we also have to realize something. Kirby Smart is only in his 4th year coaching as a head coach at a Power 5 school in Georgia, in the SEC. And he made the national title game in his 2nd season, okay, as the head coach at a major Power 5 school in the best conference, okay? Obviously, Kirby Smart's a good head coach, but obviously he's a young head coach. When you are young, you make mistakes, but you learn from them over time. And to me, Georgia has the team to beat Alabama. They have the best offensive line in college football, led by Andrew Thomas, one of the best offensive line prospects in the 2020 draft class, okay? They have Jake Fromm, a very good, solid starting quarterback, okay? The past couple years, okay? The last year versus Alabama in the SEC title game, he threw for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns, okay? Jake Fromm played a very good game versus Alabama. To me, Jake Fromm, when you watch him play, I don't sense that he's going to be a very good NFL quarterback, but what I do sense in college is that he's very calm under pressure. He, doesn't get rattled, okay? The moment does not seem too big for Jake Fromm. This is the same guy who led Georgia to the national title game in his freshman season. Yes, a freshman quarterback, Jake Fromm, led Georgia to the national title game in his freshman season. The guy does not get folded under pressure. He's a very good quarterback, okay? They have very good linebackers. They have good D tackles. They do lose DeAndre Baker this year, Georgia does. But again, they have some very good secondary players right behind them, okay? And also, I look at Jake Fromm. Like I said, Jake Fromm, to me, is primed for big moments. Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback, to me, he's not. He's just not. He's not a very good big game quarterback. Last year, guys, let's not forget, between the Mississippi State game, the LSU game, okay, the Georgia game last year, okay, and the Clemson game last year, Tua Tagovailoa in those 4 games threw 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Now again, can Tua Tagovailoa improve? Can he get better versus better competition? Yes. I believe in Tua. I think Tua potentially is going to be a very good NFL quarterback. I think that he has the potential. But again, we haven't seen it yet. We have not seen Tua Tagovailoa come through in these big games and play like the Heisman candidate that he has been pretty much through 90% of the games he's played. But when he goes up against the big boys, the big-time defenses, Tua Tagovailoa struggles. So again, I don't know if I trust Tua to win some of these big games. I'm just saying, Tua Tagovailoa, let's be real. That Georgia game last year, he was choking. He wasn't very good. Jalen Hurts kind of saved this Alabama team. It wasn't Tua that won that game. It was Jalen Hurts. He's no longer there. No longer there. Now, one thing I am concerned about Georgia and where they do need to improve is their pass rush, okay? These past couple years, I do think that Georgia's inability to get pressure consistently on quarterbacks has hurt them in these games, especially the Alabama game, okay, where, they've had leads and they have not been able to, bring it home, okay? Georgia was dead last year in sacks in the SEC, okay? Now, obviously, that pass rush, for whatever reason, came alive versus Alabama. Were they saving it for the Alabama game? Were they not? I don't know. But again, Georgia has said, the coaching staff has said, they have a new mentality of, getting after the quarterback. They are trying to get more sacks on the quarterback. And they've recruited that way too. Nolan Smith, who they bring in this year, a very talented true freshman, who I do think will contribute this year. Definitely should help in that regard, okay? He was the best defensive prospect in all college football in the 2019 class. I think he is a stud. I think he will contribute this year and play well. And I think Georgia's pass rush this year will be improved. So I do think Georgia, like I said, they've been right there. I think this is the year that Georgia pulls through and beats Alabama this year. They have outplayed them twice these past couple years. I do think that Georgia will beat Alabama in the SEC title game. I don't see Florida. I don't see any team in the SEC East challenging Georgia. I do think Alabama gets to the SEC title game this year. They could lose to Texas A&M. They could lose to Auburn potentially. But I have Alabama going undefeated. So I do think both of these teams will meet in the SEC title game. But again, a lot to like about this Georgia team. The only other real tiny concern I have about Georgia is the fact that they do lose Terry Godwin. They do lose Mecole Hardman. They do lose Riley Ridley. Okay, yeah, Riley Ridley. Okay, but they have George Pickens, a very talented wide receiver who they brought in, a 5-star. They have Dominic Blaylock, too, a very talented guy who they're looking to really step up. So, like I said, Georgia, they've recruited at a high level. They've recruited a ton of great wide receivers. I do expect one of those players potentially to break out this year. And combine the fact that they have a very good offensive line and a very good quarterback, I think Georgia does not miss a beat at the wide receiver position in 2019-2020, okay? Now, you might wonder, why did you say that Alabama is going to miss the playoffs this year? The reason why is because I do think that 4 conference champs this year will get in, whether it be the winner of the Pac-12, whether it be the winner of the SEC. Georgia already is in. Clemson potentially is going to be in if they win the ACC. Ohio State, Michigan might be in if they win the Big Ten. And I think the Big 12 winner potentially could get in this year, whether it be Texas or Oklahoma maybe potentially, okay? Now, when I say that, look, this is my thought process behind saying Alabama is going to miss the playoffs, okay? Obviously, if Alabama rolls through pretty much everyone, and only loses to Georgia in a close game, I do think they have a shot to get in the playoffs. I do think so. They obviously got into the playoffs in 2017 over my Ohio State Buckeyes in 2017 because Ohio State had 2 blowout losses. They did win their conference, but Ohio State had 2 blowout losses. The committee said that, hey, we're going to forgive Alabama for losing at Auburn. We're going to put them in the college football playoffs. And Alabama proved them right, okay? But what I will say is the only reason Alabama got in was because Ohio State, like I said, had 2 losses. Not just 2 losses, but 2 blowout losses. A blowout loss to Iowa, my Buckeyes, yes, I'm aware. And ultimately, Ohio State got dominated at home by Oklahoma. So again, I don't see Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Georgia, Clemson. I don't see any of these teams potentially that could get into the playoffs potentially having 2 blowout losses. If Ohio State had lost those games very closely, if they had, only 1 loss, because Ohio State won their conference, they would have gotten in over Alabama, okay? And if Wisconsin had beaten Ohio State, a very good team from a year ago, they would have gotten in over Alabama because they were undefeated and won their conference, and they would have just beaten a very good Ohio State team. So again, my thought process is the fact that, look, I don't see a Notre Dame getting into the playoffs this year, okay? Obviously, Notre Dame last year went undefeated, did not win a conference. They got in over a conference champ. They got in over the Pac-12 champion, Washington, and they got in over the Big Ten champ, Ohio State, okay? You know, and they got in over Georgia, too, because Georgia had two losses, okay? So, again, I don't see Notre Dame going undefeated. I don't see an independent team going undefeated. So, again, I see the ACC, I see the SEC, I see the Big 12, and I see the Big 10 getting a team in this year, whether it be Michigan, Ohio State, whether it be Oklahoma or Texas, whether it be, and I potentially could see the Pac-12 getting a team in. If Oregon beats Auburn week 1 and they only have one loss on their season, a close loss, if they win the Pac-12 and beat Auburn week 1 and they roll through their whole schedule, they will probably get into the playoffs over a one-loss non-conference champ Alabama. And let's also not throw out the fact that Alabama could potentially get blown out. Yes, Alabama could get blown out by Georgia. They could lose to Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Let's not forget, guys, Alabama got blown out versus Clemson. They got blown out, okay? They got blown out. They got obliterated. So, while I won't bet on Alabama getting blown out this year in a motivated year, in a year where Nick Saban's going to be motivated, where this team is going to have some motivation after losing so badly to Clemson, I just don't see Alabama, if they lose their conference championship game, getting in. I just don't. I don't see it. Now, again, if Georgia loses the conference championship game, I don't see them getting in either. So, again, in order for the SEC to get a team in, they're going to have to win their conference. I don't see two SEC teams sneaking into the playoffs, okay? So that's my thought process behind this. You know, I think that Georgia pulls through this year. I think they beat Alabama. I'm not saying they're a better team, but I do think that they're going to outplay Alabama. I think Jake Fromm is primed for this moment. And like I said, I do think this Georgia team is good enough to beat Alabama in 2019-2020. And Georgia, yes, Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs will win the SEC, and Alabama will not make the playoffs. You heard it here first. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. A fun fact about me is I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world. I want to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. Kind of like Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. You get the point. Okay, I want to do sports, television, and radio for a full living once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. So the best thing you guys can do to just help me continue to grow as a young broadcaster is to just share this channel with all your friends, because potentially if this channel really gets somewhere, I want to start my own network, okay? You know, or potentially if it doesn't, you know, or if I fall a little bit short, I want to go into a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. So the best thing you guys can do to just flat out just help me grow as a broadcaster, help me learn, you know, get other people hip to this channel, you know, just share this channel with all your friends. Share this channel on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And once again, guys, just share this channel with everyone you know. Get everyone hipped and watching these videos. Get my voice out there and heard. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. It's been your boy, Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today. I really do. Have a God bless day. Stay motivated, you guys, and I'm out.